Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Time of 10 o'clock having arrived, we'll call this hearing of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission to order. The hearing today is on challenges facing religious minorities in South Asia. So, I have a prepared statement to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and distinguished guests, I convene this hearing entitled Challenges Facing Religious Minorities in South Asia as someone who has been to South Asia many times and with a deep concern for the religious freedoms of the people of the region. I've witnessed firsthand the grotesqueness of human rights abuses stemming from religious persecution, both from state and social hostilities. I've been exposed to the nature of deep-rooted fundamental disagreements on religion and the effects that they can have on societies. That being stated, I've never once questioned the fundamental ability of man to peacefully coexist despite these differences. Recently, the world has witnessed rising restrictions on religion on a global scale. A Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life study in 2011 found that 70% of the world's population was, quote, living in countries where governments imposed high restrictions on religion or where there were high levels of religious hostilities in society, end quote. The study also found that while the percentage of countries where government restrictions are increasing stood at 12%, when looked through the lens of global population, restrictions and hostilities were increasing on the 32% of the world's inhabitants. Given the large populations present in South Asia, it seems that a small amount of countries constitute a disproportionately large share of the rising restrictions on populations. With that in mind, the report documented a rise in religious restrictions in 3 out of 4 of the countries we're focusing on today. This is all despite the fact that South Asia is the birthplace of so many of the world's religions. Practitioners of Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism, and substantial populations of Christian and Muslim populations all call the region home. As we focus today on the countries of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, we observe a wide variance of religious restrictions and hostilities and persecution and even religious violence. We've seen state-backed restrictions, abuses stemming from inaction by the government in the case of its failure to protect minority groups, and culturally enforced hostilities stemming from the teaching in madrasas. In India, we have evidence of religious hostility being used as a political weapon in the case of the Orissa abuses of 2008. In Bangladesh, we witnessed the confines of a limited and weak state where Hindu women are subjugated to Sharia-based punishments. In Afghanistan, we've witnessed an entire faith, that of Baha'ism, to be declared a form of blasphemy by the Supreme Court. In many cases, the abuses are coordinated and systemic. In others, there are more random and tangential to actual religious tensions. However, one aspect that is glaring is that as these abuses continue, the world is not unaffected by their occurrence. As I've already mentioned, religious challenges in this region have been accompanied by a rise in global restrictions, from intolerance in Europe to religious violence in tandem with ethnic and political conflicts. If the international community and the United Nations ignore these problems, we do so at great peril. I look forward to identifying the key problems here today and hope to find solutions and actions that can be taken to stem this alarming trend. And I would like to conclude by thanking all of our witnesses that are here today. Look forward to hearing your testimony. I'd also like to point out that these hearings reflect a wide range of views, especially views from ethnic and religious minorities. But we understand There are a diversity of views on these sensitive topics within the countries they touch upon. While we welcome dissenting views, we ask that the audience respect that this is a congressional hearing, and if anyone feels compelled to dissent, we ask they rise respectfully and stand silently. The members of the commission will understand from this respectful demonstration that there are dissenting views among those attending, and bear that in mind. We have